What's up, guys? So just a few days ago, I believe it was maybe 2 days ago or something like that, Bioware was awesome enough to answer a lot of fan questions from the website Raptr.com. They did answer over almost 500 questions, I think. Oh, way more than 400. I went through each and every one. It was Mike Laidlaw, Mark Darrah, and Cameron Lee. So that was really cool that they spent the time to do that. I'm not going to be going into stuff that we already knew or stuff that I have already discussed in previous videos because it was just way too much. This video would be way too long if I did every question and every answer. So I tried to narrow it down to new information or information that's finally confirmed that people were maybe asking themselves about. I split up all the questions and answers in sections so that this could be a little more easy to follow maybe. I'm not going to go too into depth with this, and I'm not going to be including all of the question and answers. I do want to include some funny answers that some of the developers gave because some of the answers are just, they're so perfect, they're so golden that I was like, I'm not gonna summarize any of these. I'm just gonna straight up say it. If I do have something extra to say about it or thoughts or something, I will. But most of this is just gonna be boom, 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 boom information. And, you know, pretty self-explanatory, that kind of thing. So here we go. It's not essential to read outside Dragon Age media. One of the specializations for mage is necromancy, and this is a gray area. There is no blood mage. You can't become a blood mage in this game, but it's seen differently. Like, say, the Navarans, they respect that, but other places, it's kind of frowned upon. Like a lot of, like Ferelden and all that, they burn their dead because they're afraid of undead. More on the barbarian tribes like the Avar, maybe even meet one, so we might meet Owen. There are no capes. If you want your mage to wear heavy armor, you pretty much have to craft it in order for your mage to be able to wear it. So already pre-made armors for warriors that you find, you're gonna have restrictions if you put it on a mage. Weapons are restricted by class. So daggers for rogues, long swords for warriors, and that kind of thing. Some of the daggers for rogues are actually pretty big. All rogues can equip bows. No dual wielding warriors. If a character starts off with a two-handed sword, they could end up being a sword and shield if you level them correctly. If you love a specific weapon, you could continue crafting that type of weapon. So if you're a fan of axes, you could keep crafting axes and still keep them to date. Loot is color-coded, so there are rare, ultra-rare, common, that kind of thing. This next information is what I couldn't talk about when I came from E3. They told me not to say anything as of yet when it came to what happens to your followers when you go on your horse or when you go on your mount. Mike Laidlaw later, a few weeks after I came from E3, announced on Twitter, said for sure that the companions disappear. That's what I was told when I was at E3, but for some reason they were like, just don't talk about that right now. So I was like, all right, fine, I won't say anything. But your companions do disappear. So a lot of people are worried about banter. They were like, oh, I'm going to be walking around most of the time then. Now, they did say that banter is a mix of triggering, like in the previous games, you could trigger banter every time you say you cross a bridge. Like in Lothering, I remember every time you would cross that bridge on Lothering, you would trigger a banter. But sometimes they're triggered when you talk to people as well. I think they strategically placed these markers to trigger banter in areas where you would be walking anyways. Big open forest. I doubt they would put too many banter spots because banters usually come when you're in towns anyways. It would be weird to just be like some random spot in a field or a random spot in the forest or something like that where you would be riding your horse. So I think they strategically placed those in areas where it wouldn't be too recommendable to be riding your horse anyways. Plus, it's way better than having your followers freaking run behind you like in Skyrim. And they were also saying that they did that, that your companions disappear also because of the logistics, like where you are. I remember in Dragon's Dogma that, I mean, you didn't have mounts, but they did have this thing where if you ran down a mountain or something like that, you took a shortcut, your followers would wouldn't follow you down that mountain. They would take the path to get to where you were. And it was so annoying because it was like, oh god, I took this freaking shortcut so that we could get here faster, and now I have to wait until my damn followers come taking the path. It's like I should have just taken the path. Or if you're in a small area, it would be too many people on horses or on mounts. So I think it's better that they disappear, even though it kind of takes away from that immersion. I actually am glad that they disappear, opposed to running behind you or being on a mount themselves. That would, if in a perfect world, that would be awesome. If they followed you wherever you went, and they actually got single filed when you went through small areas, and they would follow you behind you and not get all like ugh, and they get in your freaking way and they don't move. I think it's better for them to just disappear. Mounts don't currently increase carrying capabilities, but they thought it was a good idea. Looking into providing a larger rucksack, or like a larger backpack. There are different mounts, you could collect them and you could pick which one you want to ride. There are no flying mounts. You acquire mounts through plots and / quests, so you don't have to like do mini games like in Red Dead Redemption where you would try to tame the horse. You can armor your mounts. Some mounts that we know about are the Red Heart Hala, and then there's the Bog Unicorn. Some people actually get confused about the Bog Unicorn. They actually think it's a unicorn, and they're like, ooh, is there, someone was even asking, is there like more unicorns in Dragon Age Inquisition? It's like, no, it's not a unicorn. It just looks like a unicorn. It's an undead horse. It's an undead horse that was killed by having like a sword through its head, and it literally has a sword coming out of its head, so it looks like a unicorn. And like they said it before, there is a scaled like horse mount. Dagna, that adorable dwarf that wanted to go study magic to the circle, does appear, but she is not a follower. We may see Gideon Emery. That's the voice of Fenris. Shale isn't in Inquisition. They said maybe later, but no plans yet. Zevran is not in Dragon Age Inquisition. We'll be seeing a lot of Morrigan. There's no Mabari companion. Do we get to see what Meredith is up to? Knight Commander Meredith? She's not up to much. Any chance of seeing Nathaniel Hal, Valana, or Sigrun? 100% chance of seeing them in Awakening. DAI, not saying. There is a chance they will show off the character creator. They at least want to make a video. They're trying to get more hairstyles in there, especially when it comes to longer hairstyle. There is the problem of clipping, or like long hairstyles bleeding into armor. Long hairstyles sometimes just don't make it in because of technicalities, but they are trying to fix that so that they can have more options for female and male. There are a lot of lip options. There's no editing body types. You can't adjust the pitch of the voice at the moment. Kunari have no claws. Thank God for that. Scars or freckles? Mike Laidlaw says both, but Mark Darrah says only scars, no freckles. Freckles may be on presets. You can control the color of the outer iris as well as the inner iris, and they're hopefully going to include unnatural colors. You could customize Kunari horns, and they do have different shapes and sizes. Hair will most likely be presets, so you can't edit the hair. No chest hair for the Inquisitor. That's it. I don't want this game anymore. Screw this. Whatever. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Bioware? Fine. You want to spit in our face like that? Fine. Character creation will be before the opening cutscene. There are more skin tones due to the power of the Frostbite engine. They will be revealing more on crafting later on. The crafting system goes as specific as being able to create a hilt separate from the blade. Crafting is based more on templates than on recipes. So say you would find a sword or a specific armor and you want it to look something like that, you use that as a template, but you choose the material and all that depending on what stats you want. So they said you don't modify the original armor, you create your own, using this as a template. It is possible to make armor for a rogue that looks like mage robes. Things you say and do get companions' loyalty, no universal gifts. The approval of advisors is different from followers. Josephine, the advisor, who was known as Scribbles, and for many will still remain being called Scribbles, has a really cool accent. You could hug some followers and advisors. Advisors can't leave the same way followers can. Equipment on followers can be changed, but will still look consistent with their style. Solas has a Welsh accent. Qunari use something other than helms / hats. I was like, what would they use other than a helm? Besides a hat, I could imagine them using bandanas, but other than a helm? Circlets? I am very curious to see the headgear available for Qunari. The Iron Bull is bulkier and taller, a little bit taller, than the Qunari Inquisitor. Companions join you throughout the game, and they join more fluidly than say Mass Effect 2, and they sometimes even show up in unexpected moments. Advisors will have banter dialogue. Can I use the Iron Bull as a mount? His armor's got all those pointy bits. Ill-advised. Does Varric have a whole new set of nicknames for everyone? Or is he more somber and serious this time around? Chest hair. Have any of our companions licked a lamppost in the winter? Have you? Will we be able to get Iron Bull to throw Sarah? But she would get a wedge up something fierce. Think of the mayhem, Mark. Mayhem! Will there be an option to give Solas a full head of hair? Bald elves make me queasy. Inquisition does not support toupees. Consider putting Dorian in your party, as he is neither bald nor an elf. Will Iron Bull be romanceable by female Qunari Inquisitors? Iron Bull likes bedtime Olympics. You can flirt. Cassandra is straight. Cullen is straight. They don't think they have a bad guy romance. Guess it all depends on what you think. Now here's kind of a mix-up. One of the developers says that there is one romance outside of companions and advisors, but you can only flirt with this person. How much romance in the game? Constant. You can't get married. Are all companions romance options? Nope. Some just got no time for your business. Will there be awkward dry humping like in the first 2 games? There will be romance scenes, but not necessarily just focused on sex. In all cases, we will strive to keep all romantic moments both moisturized and supple, like a well-tended leather jacket, swaying gently on the back of a bar's patio chair in the twilight of the first warm day of the year. Will Morrigan be a potential romance option? No. That would have resulted in many Dragon Age Origins fans burning me in a fire. The invites for the Dragon Age Keep is growing every day, and I do see a bunch of people being added to Dragon Age Keep. So if you signed up for the beta, do not lose hope. They are adding people literally like every other day. Like every week there is a bunch of people that are added. They're going to be releasing Dragon Age Keep before the launch of Dragon Age Inquisition, so do not lose hope. They are adding a lot of people. If you want to know more, Fernando Mello, one of the people that is involved in the Keep, one of the lead guys, I did an interview with him a while back, way before the beta started, so he does give a lot of information on the Keep there. Or you could also see Lady Insanity's video where she gives some information on the Keep as well. They are looking into maybe being able to import previous saves into the Keep. If the collector's editions are sold out where you live, it's most likely they're not going to get any more unless people cancel their pre-order or they don't pick up their pre-order on launch. But they have a manufacturing limit, so once they're out, they're out. The physical copy of the deluxe edition or the Inquisitor edition in Europe is most likely not going to happen. But they're hoping to get all the items in the deluxe edition and to have them sold separately. The reason you are where you are in the beginning of Inquisition is affected by race and class. There is a minimap. You have the possibility of putting plot markers, and you can also mark active quests. Return of cross combos. There are things very much like skills that act similar to Persuades from Dragon Age Origins, but are acquired and work differently. When it comes to finishing moves, they do have elemental deaths. I'm guessing like if you freeze something, it'll show it like burst into ice or maybe burning, and they're looking into finishing moves or finishing cinematics for physical attacks. Major characters have something similar to approval ratings, but more based on what you do or say, not on gifts. If you help them with something, they will appreciate it, and if you piss them off, they might just leave. Specializations will sometimes affect the storyline. There will be some Red Jenny. Mike Laidlaw says that he's always wanted to answer the question, who are they? Knight Enchanters are meant to get up close and personal in many melee, but they're not the same as arcane warriors. They're less tanky. Specializations will be shown in action before launch. No weaponless combat. Darkspawn do appear. We will experience snow, rain, and dust storms. You only have one specialization. You could build alliances and rivalries with some factions, and this will have an effect on the narrative. Warriors can bash down walls, and mages can repair like broken bridges. They want to show the war table before launch. No Kal Sharok. I told you guys, I told you. Things like rolling and flipping are actually abilities, and you need to purchase them through points, through like skill points. You earn specializations. I'm guessing that means kind of like in Dragon Age Origins where you would find a character that would teach you the specialization. That's what I'm guessing. No Orzammar. Having control over Fade Rifts may provide interesting possibilities in combat. Maybe you even have your own skill tree when it comes to that green power. Maybe you could use that in combat. You could plan ahead of time and position traps for ambushes. There's no food. Thank God, because I didn't want to see anybody eating a freaking nug. 25 to 30 is the level cap. They're exploring options for a mod toolset, but there is none planned for launch because there's a lot of challenges when it comes to the Frostbite engine and like modding and stuff like that. You can continue playing the game after you finish the game. There are specific places where you can just sit down in a tavern and have a drink with the party. You can only fast travel to places where you set up an Inquisition camp and you have your soldiers there. If you're a human non-mage, you will be a noble. If you're an elf, you will be Dalish. If you're a Qunari, you will be Vishath. You will never have been raised within the Qun. And if you're a dwarf, you will be a surface dwarf. Will the demons be able to win? Yes, but that would suck. Dragon Age Inquisition is more contiguous, so it's more sequential than Dragon Age 2 was. It doesn't jump within the years. The player elf doesn't have a Welsh accent, even though they are Dalish. Not all Dalish have to have Welsh accents though. I mean, it all depends on where they lived, where they grew up. There are no griffins. The Inquisitor will regularly be referred to by his or her surname. They're not sure about the PC requirements yet, but they said that it's a good guess is to look at Battlefield 4. No pets. The Inquisitor expresses more emotion than any character in the Dragon Age series, and possibly even a Bioware game. Will we be able to learn the system requirements for the game soon? We'll be sure to have them out before launch. I almost typed lunch there. Whoops, that would have been bad. Do we ride flying unicorns? Unicorns don't traditionally fly. I think you're thinking of the mythical Pegacorn. Ulysses! I want to see Mark Darrah as Rogue, Mike Laidlaw as Mage, and Cameron Lee as Warrior in Dragon Age Inquisition. Day 1, if possible. So do I. No, I wouldn't fit in the robes. I'd make such a bad warrior. I could see it as Mark Darrah the Mage, Mike Laidlaw the Warrior, and Cameron Lee the Rogue. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the whole, all the Raptr information. There have been some people that have actually put all the questions and answers on a site where you could actually go there and read the questions, or you could just read summaries. So I will provide those in the description down below so that you could go and read all of them if you would like, because I definitely did summarize. My goal here was to definitely include any new information, or at least information that we didn't know too much about, or stuff that has finally been confirmed, aside from, say, speculation. And of course, fun stuff, funny stuff, I tried to include that too. Again, if you want to read it all, I will provide it in the description, or you could watch some of my previous videos, because I do talk a lot about some stuff that they already mentioned here. Thank you so much to Raptr for having this event, and thank you so much to the developers for taking the time that they took. They were on there for hours. So hopefully this was helpful, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.